This podcast was made by humans. Accept no substitutes. Hello, and welcome to the Drawhunter. I'm your charming host, Kevin Cleary, and this is the only football gambling podcast where we don't pick any winners. We hunt for the result that pays better than most of those win bets. We hunt for the draw, the hardest wager to handicap in all of sports. And yet, 25-30% of all pro matches end in a draw every season worldwide in all of the major leagues and international competitions. It just happened this summer in the World Cup. That's not random. That's not a fluke. That's a probability, people. And even if you want to bet on winners, and I do that too, running down the games through this kind of perspective is still a valuable handicapping tool, because betting on sports is about gathering as much useful information as possible so you can make the correct decision. So we hunt for the hidden value draws where the market is pricing outcomes too heavily towards the favorites or volatility. These fixtures combine low scoring averages, balanced possession rates, historical draw frequency, and some market pricing that combine to give us the contrarian value we look for in a draw wager. These are the games where parity equals a payoff for you and me. Let's talk about our winners from the last episode, and it'll be quick because I went 0 for 3. We had nothing on opening day. I hate opening day. I like having a lot of statistics and results to base my predictions on, so the beginning of the season is always a little rough sometimes. But let's get into the picks for this week, where we have FA Cup and UEFA Champions League qualifying games to talk about that have a little more meat on the bone statistically for us this week. These games take place between August 24th and the 27th, 2026. First up, we have an FA Cup game, Bradford City versus Burnley. This one's taking place in the University of Bradford Stadium. Burnley are the visitors here. Betting odds, Bradford City is plus 220. Burnley is the favorite, the away favorite, at plus 110. The draw is plus 235. Ball possession rates between these two teams, we've got Bradford is at 50%, Burnley's at 46%. Bradford's early season competitive matches have shown that they are comfortable controlling possession. They had a 53% possession rate against Peterborough and 40% against Sheffield Wednesday, while still winning both of those matches. Burnley had a 46% against West Ham in their comeback draw. Goals for, goals against. It's early in the season, but 2 competitive League One goals for Bradford, and they also won their opening EFL Cup match against Rockdale, 2-0. Burnley has scored 3 goals so far this season. They've given up 5 in their 2 first championship matches, which includes a 2-2 draw to West Ham and a 1-3 loss against West Brom. Head-to-head history between these two teams. These two teams have not played each other in 10 years, which activates the what I like to call the risk aversion mode for the managers. This is one of the fixtures I like most for the draw for the midweek action this week. Bradford are 2-0-0 in League One. They have yet to concede a league goal, and they've demonstrated that they can play a disciplined, low-event match. Their 1-0 victory at Sheffield Wednesday is particularly interesting. Wednesday had a 60% possession rate, a 1.36 expected goal rate, and yet Bradford absorbed the pressure and won. Burnley are the superior squad here and should be favored, but the market is giving them only a modest edge rather than treating this as a complete mismatch. And more importantly, Burnley have already demonstrated some volatility. They surrendered a 2-0 lead against West Ham and drew 2-2 after conceding twice late. That combination creates an attractive contrarian setup for us. I think we've got Bradford's defensive form plus Burnley's vulnerability plus a home advantage plus cup rotation plus relatively generous plus 235 240 draw price, depending on what it is right now when this show drops. The biggest danger here is Burnley's championship level quality, eventually overwhelming Bradford. But I don't think the probability of a Burnley win is high enough to justify ignoring the road challenge for the squad. I have a projected score of 1-1 in this game, and it's one of my favorites of the week. I've already got my money down in Polymarket. Next up, we have a couple of UEFA qualifying games. We've got Viking FK versus Dynamo Zagreb, and this one's being played in Norway for Viking FK as a home game at Lisi Arena in Stavanger. The betting odds here, we've got Viking is at plus 125. They're the home favorite. Dynamo Zagreb is plus 175. The draw is plus 260. Ball possession rates, Viking is at 40%, Zagreb is at 60%. This is the second leg of a tie. And in the first leg, it finished 2-2. The first competitive meeting of this playoff, Dynamo led 2-0 after only 10 minutes. And then Viking recovered to draw 2-2. This is one of the most interesting draw situations on the board, I think also. The first leg is extremely revealing. Dynamo were substantially superior territorially and statistically, and yet they somehow failed to win after taking a 2-0 lead. Vikings' comeback matters enormously for the second leg because the Norwegian side now knows it can compete with Dynamo, while Dynamo knows it has already squandered their home field advantage. There's a fascinating game state issue here. A first half goal would dramatically alter this matchup, but if it remains level through, 30 to 45 minutes in the first half, I expect both sides to become increasingly conscious that one mistake can eliminate them from the Champions League. Again, risk aversion matters here. The first leg was unusually open, but I don't necessarily expect a repeat of 4 first-half goals. The aggregate is 2-2, and the second leg is in Norway. This creates a much stronger incentive for Viking to avoid getting stretched. The market is giving us a nice price here also at 260. Plus 260, which is a very reasonable price considering how evenly the tie is positioned. Dynamo's recent domestic form is excellent. They're playing well. But that makes the first leg collapse even more interesting rather than eliminating the draw possibility. Again, I have another projected score here. Guess what? It's 1-1, so I like the under. I like 1-1 as an exact score. I like a draw at the half also, as well as a full-time draw. Next up, we have NK Celje versus SK Slovan Bratislava. And this one's being played in Celje, Slovenia, which is Celje's home stadium. And I apologize for my pronunciation if I'm getting that wrong with my New England accent. But NK is plus 140 at home. Bratislava is plus 205 as the road team. The draw is plus 230 here. Ball possession rates, Bratislava is at 47%, Celje is at 53%. This is another second leg of the tie. Guess what? It was a draw in the first leg also. It was 1-1. 2 out of the last 3 games between these two teams ended in a draw. Those 2 draws were both 1-1. The last game that they played was 1-1. Then there was a game where I believe Celje won, and then there was another draw 1-1 right before that. This is a very extremely attractive second leg draw setup, much like the game that we just talked about. The first match was very balanced. It was 53% possession and 4 shots on target for Celje, while Slovan Bratislava had a 47% possession rate and 2 shots on target. The critical factor here is, again, Bratislava doesn't have the home advantage, where NK enters the return leg with the psychological benefit of having already drawn away from home. However, Neither team has an overwhelming statistical edge here. The first leg finished 1-1. The current market has Celje only a modest favorite at home. This is another major Drawhunter indicator here. The first meeting was not a fluke 0-0 stalemate. Okay? Both sides scored, yet neither could establish control of the game, and that makes another 1-1 particularly plausible. This historical meeting has also produced a 1-1 draw in Slovenia, which is a nice secondary confirmation of those matchup dynamics. The downside is that NK Celje's home advantage makes them a legitimate winner candidate, and that's why I think I put this game slightly behind Viking Dynamo. But I still have a projected score of 1-1 at the end of 90 minutes here. And there you go. 3 matches that I think will end in a draw this weekend. Now let's talk about parlays and accumulator bets. I only picked 3 games, so guess what? This week's Lucy, our weekly house parlay wager, has 3 matches in it, and it's Viking Dynamo Zagreb at plus 260, Bradford City versus Burnley at plus 235, and NK Celje versus Slovan Bratislava at plus 230. A $1 bet on that 3-leg parlay right now returns $36.99, according to the payout field on the betting app in front of me at the moment. Basically 37-1. That's pretty good. Let's see if we can hit that Lucy. Nice odds. That's our Lucy for this weekend, for this week, not this weekend. But that is it for this episode of the Drawhunter. I'm still your charming host. New episodes drop twice a week in season. Mondays for all the midweek action. I know we were a little late this week with today's episode showing up on a Tuesday. And Thursdays for the weekend slate. Once again, please subscribe. Give us a like, a nice review for our show at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you have any questions or comments, email us at drawhunterpodcast@gmail.com. From the entire Drawhunter team, thanks for listening. And remember, there's no stopping it. Draws happen. Gambling involves risk. Please gamble responsibly. This show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. No guarantees are made regarding results or financial gain. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. You must be of legal age to participate in gambling activities. Check your local laws and regulations before placing any bets.